Tomorrow, Friday, January 31st at midnight, the UK officially withdraws from the European Union. In the first five today, I want to start by playing a clip. This is Nigel Farage in a speech, in his exit speech at the EU. I had to clip it. We couldn't play all of it, but I encourage you to listen to all of it, really laying out not just why the UK wanted to leave the EU, but much more broadly, just kind of laying out where we are in the world today, where people are, our thinking is about wanting to free ourselves from the elite ruling class and reassert the right of the people to govern themselves. This is Nigel Farage in the EU.
Thank you. Mr. Farage for 4 minutes.
Thank you very much. So this is it, the final chapter, the end of the road. A 47-year political experiment that the British, frankly, have never been very happy with. My mother and father signed up to a common market, not to a political union, not to flags, anthems, presidents, and now you even want your own army. But my view has changed of Europe since I joined. In 2005, I saw the constitution that had been drafted by Giscard and others. I saw it rejected by the French in a referendum. I saw it rejected by the Dutch in a referendum. And I saw you in these institutions ignore them, bring it back as the Lisbon Treaty and boast you could ram it through without there being referendums. Well, the Irish did have a vote and did say no and were forced to vote again. You're very good at making people vote again. But what we've proved is the British are too big to bully, thank goodness. So I'm hoping this begins the end of this project. It's a bad project. It isn't just undemocratic, it's anti-democratic, and it puts in that front row. It gives people power without accountability. People who cannot be held to account by the electorate. And that is an unacceptable structure. Indeed, there's an historic battle going on now across the West, in Europe, America and elsewhere. It is globalism against populism. And you may loathe populism, but I tell you a funny thing, it's becoming very popular. And it has great benefits. No more financial contributions, no more European Court of Justice, no more common fisheries policy, no more being talked down to, no more being bullied. I know you're going to miss us. I know you want to ban our national flags, but we're going to wave you goodbye and we'll look forward in the future to working with you as sovereign.
If you disobey the rules, you get cut off. Could we please remove the flags? Mr. Farage, could we remove the flags, please?
That's it, it's all over.
Okay, I loved that. And I actually think some of the ideas he brought up are so important for us in America to talk about. First of all, the woman who was conducting the meeting, who called on him to speak, what she was saying at the end is, put away the flags. No flags allowed. That is such a symbolic statement by her, such a symbolic message from her to the EU, to the rest of the world. We don't care about the identity of your country. We don't care what the European Union does not care what the UK thinks they are. It doesn't care for your flag, for your people, your values, your uniqueness. I do want to put a twist, though, on what Nigel Farage was saying. He was making a contrast between the populists and the globalists. And while that is not incorrect, it's not refined enough to describe and for people who are real patriots in America to hold on to and grasp. And so I want to talk about why it's so important to get those ideas straight. The larger spirit, what Nigel Farage is saying, what's happening in America and the support of President Trump, it is that spirit of populism. It is that spirit of people saying, no, we're not going to have ruling elites who do not listen to us. But populism can mean a lot of things. It can mean whatever the majority wants, whatever the popular vote is, becomes what is the rule. And that is not the deal in America. We do have democratic elections, but we are a republic, meaning we have Democrat elections governed by and with guardrails and protections as set out in the Declaration and then the Constitution. So, for example, if the majority of Americans wanted to vote that women in America could no longer vote, they can't take away that right of women to vote, because the larger governing structure, the Constitution, has the amendment in it that says that women can vote. If the majority of Americans wanted to say that one particular religion is not allowed anymore, or that certain political kinds of statements cannot be made, even if you had a majority vote for that, you can't make that law in America as long as you follow the Constitution, because populism, even if the majority want it, because the idea of America is not exactly populism. It is the idea of a country ruled by a set of values that we agreed to at our founding, that we still apply today, we still follow today. And this is an important distinction, because much of what the American left does in attacking, or I should say the anti-American left does in attacking President Trump and attacking his followers, is to mock people who are enthusiastic about the idea of America first, of restoring America. Leftists try to treat the idea that people who want to restore the dignity of America, the sovereignty of America, the borders of America, the military of America, the idea of America as a free country, all of that is rejected as silly, shallow, ignorant populism, or just not belonging in the modern era. That's ancient thinking, old thinking, wrong thinking, founders thinking. But these really are at the heart and soul, at the core of what Nigel Farage was talking about and what President Trump is trying to do in America. He's trying to restore the idea of America, the idea of the individuals having a government that's responsive to them, a government that listens to them. So we have elections, and then when we elect people, we expect them to follow through on what the promises they made, the principles they said they believed in, within the structure of our Constitution. So thrilled to have this spirit of Nigel Farage just bursting out on the international stage. I've forgotten how many millions of views that had on Facebook, on YouTube earlier today. But there's a spirit of freedom, of patriotism, of just an uprising against the global ruling elite that Nigel Farage captured in that little segment, and that President Trump has captured, which caused him to win the 2016 elections and will cause him again to win the 2020 elections. And that, my friends, is today's First Five.